Luca Guadagnino's second best film of the year, Queer, stars Daniel Craig as William Lee as an American expat in Mexico City in 1950. He goes out to drink, get laid, and is deeply stuck in his addiction to a variety of drugs. He meets Eugene Allerton, a young student new to the city, and they share an intimate connection. Sex is what that means, and the scenes that portray that are stunning, I gotta say. This is easily also, we talked about this already, the best score of the festival, again by Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross, who also fucking kicked ass with challenges this year, which, by the way, I feel like is still my favorite score of the year. This is right up there in my top 3 or maybe top 5 as well. It's also an adaptation of William S. Burroughs' novel of the same name. And as far as the structure of the movie goes, there's like 3 distinct chapters that we get to see. And I think chapter 1 is the one where I wanted to see even more of, which is, no spoilers here, I'd say, is set in that in Mexico City, like the beginning stages of him going out, drinking, meeting people, talking to people. And I think that's just like, it's such a vibe. That you'd love to stay in the whole movie, and apparently in the extended cut that they cut down for the Venice premiere, which I don't know if they'll change anything. It might be like a version that only we got to see and might be changed later on. There's an extra, like, I think 30 minutes that most of it takes place in Mexico City.
Yeah, this one is 2 hours and 15 minutes. I believe the original cut was 3 hours and 20 or 3 hours and 15.
So quite a bit.
So like almost an hour, really.
Yeah.
And, I absolutely love the first chapter as well, because, Daniel Craig in this movie has a sort of flamboyancy, right? And seeing that flamboyancy evolve into, his addiction, into the sex he's having with not only through Starkey, but other people as well, and the sunny city of Mexico, and especially one
so
scene
yellow.
Yes, so yellow, but
Yeah.
it doesn't have the piss filter for it, which thank God people can do with Mexico, right?
Yeah.
But my favorite scene was just Daniel Craig literally sitting at a desk. You got the blue yellow sky in the back. He's smoking crack. The score roars. That was my favorite part of the movie.
Yeah.
Just complete vibe, and that vibe dissolves into the other chapters and just completely evaporates at the end of it. And we were both looking like at each other like,
just happened?
What's happening? I get that Guadagnino is going into this like experimental filmmaking side later into the movie, but we were both like, this is not the same movie that it started out as. And some people might love it, but we didn't at all.
I mean the later things. I really like the beginning stages of the film, and I like the exploration that it does of like his addictive tendencies that aren't just with substances, but also with love that is unreciprocated, and that stuff like really hits, and it could hit so much more in like the later stages of the film, but it tries to, I think it's part of it, but not the core focus. It wants to swing like in some like bigger way. And then it kind of falls short, where it really is like then a bit more caught up in showing us the subjective, more subjective view of like a drug intake, when before that we were looking from the outside in onto him, which I found to be a bit more interesting, because it's not like shaping us as much in what we like are meant to believe about this character. We get to judge him a bit more just like looking at him. Drew Starkey though, I really good. I really liked his. Like he is somewhat. He's like rigid and hard. Word hard is the wrong word to say, but he's like soft and hard at the same time. Just to lean into it a bit more. He has like both of those spectrums within him, even though he can be like quite dismissive as well. So he comes off as like really cold in parts, and it reminded me a bit of like the Quiet Son, where like they have these good moments with each other, but then also like some places where it escalates out of nowhere, and you're like, oh, why are you being so so hurtful to each other. Like this is not the way you should treat each other. It's another one where I really wanted to revisit it. I'd love to see the longer cut.
Me too.
I hope it's like a done version, and they just really had to cut it down for Venice in order to make the schedule work or something.
It didn't debut at any other festivals?
No, it premiered at TIFF, and then it's going to premiere in October,
New York
and then
London.
Yeah, and then in London, yeah.
I also would have loved some scenes to be swapped, actually. So I would have loved... I would love to have some scenes where Daniel Craig is like tripping to have been from Starkey's perspective. Because that would make more sense, as you know, he's kind of figuring out his sexuality, his relationship with drugs, like all of that gets put on him. I would have loved to see how he processed that instead of Daniel Craig, who kind of looks like he already has experienced so much of life. I would have loved to know what that was from Eugene's perspective. That was also my kind of flaw with the movie, besides the fact that it just really kind of gets off the rails in its latter stages. But overall, like, still impeccable cinematography, still very strong direction, and a great score. I'll keep this movie above water for me. So, I did give it a 7 out of 10, but I would really want to like it more. So,
for me too. I also am like I'm caught somewhere between a 7 and an 8, because I feel like that director's cut could make it better for me.
the director's cut could make or break it.
Potential right now, I really, from what people are likely going to see, I think, I can't recommend it more than like challenges. But I also really tried to get a copy of the book, but you can't really find it like anywhere. I can't really get it in any bookstore. It's a bit disappointing. Yeah, I tried to get it, but it was like the earliest it could ship was like in October or November. And I was like, okay, that sucks. But I might read it. Yeah, I couldn't even find an ebook version. There was really nothing available of it. So yeah, I'll try and find it, because I'm really interested to see how the scenes play differently.
The movie also finishes the book, right? Because what I read, the book had a not quite open ending, so Queer kind of picks in on that and tries to finish it the way that Guadagnino imagines how Burroughs would have finished it. So if you read the book, maybe you'll get the context, and that would add more dimension and depth to the movie, but so far it doesn't. So that's, this movie could only elevate from here on. So I don't think it will diminish over time, but it could only get stronger over time with the more context, with potentially the longer cut out there. So I am curious to rewatch it as well.